funnily enough, it actually did change, started to change under Balmer with Microsoft, but then when Satya came in, one of the things he was very keen on was driving a single engineering system for the entire company. And crazy idea, let's use the same tools we sell to people. Wow, isn't that amazing? You'd think that was from what we were doing from the get-go, but for many, many, many years, Visual Studio wouldn't build with Visual Studio, Windows was built with some crazy stuff, and it's because, it's been around for ages. So let's go modernize our engineering systems. Let's go use the stuff we actually ship to customers and sell to customers. And Satya was very upfront that he wanted the best people in the company to go work on engineering tools for the company. Because if he can make us more productive, us being Microsoft, then that pays dividends for all the stuff that we can create. And you've seen, hopefully, the rapid delivery cadence that Microsoft has sort of stepped up to across the organization. That was a deliberate, let's have one engineering system, let's share it. Let's focus on things like mean time for an engineer to get code running in the customer's hands. Let's focus on how long it takes for a new hire or a transfer in the company to get code running in the customer's hands. When I joined, it was like 9 months. I remember I got my team to shipping same business day, like ticking all the checkboxes in Microsoft to be able to ship. And people were just like amazed, that how do you do that? Ship in a day? That's crazy talk. And now we ship lots of times a day, as you'll see in a minute. Azure DevOps itself is used by Microsoft now. So Windows source code is stored in a Git repository in Azure repos. Minecraft is built using Azure DevOps. Everything is, including Azure DevOps itself, which is quite a sort of moment of inception, really, because Azure DevOps is built and deployed using Azure DevOps. So is Azure, and so is Windows, which Azure relies a lot on. And what happens when we have these, an outage sort of thing? So, yeah. And we haven't had one bad enough yet to find out, but there is a backup plan seriously involving like stuff buried in a mountain, but we'll see. Hopefully we won't get there. So most of Microsoft are using it now. We're at 96,000 people inside Microsoft using Azure DevOps in like an account. I didn't know we had 96,000 people. Not all of them are engineers, like real proper engineers. Some people are overhead like me. So you've got like the light blue line is non-engineering users, so overhead. And then you've got people who do real work here. As I say, we ship a lot now. So we went from, shipping every few months, every 2 or 3 years, really. Now we ship, it says 78,000 times a day. The actual, I checked last night as I was just in the hotel, and it's actually, last month we shipped 84,000 deployments in a day, on average, over the past 28 days, which is nuts. Now that's not all, like, releases to production, you know what I mean? That's deployments. These are just vanity metrics, really, just to go, whoa, big numbers. But we're shipping to something, we're shipping to pre-production, we're shipping to different test environments and things like that. It's a big number. The one I quite like is how many pull requests we were doing a month. 6 months? No, 2 years ago, this was close to zero, you know what I mean? And now we're doing, over a 1/3 of a million pull requests every single month. Pull request is a code review. And that's how we do all of our code check-ins. We call it release flow. I'll dig into that in a minute. Everybody has a definition of DevOps slide. You've probably seen our definition of DevOps lots of times. A friend of mine called Donovan Brown sort of spent a lot of time in it. So people, process, and products to deliver value to your customers. And there's a deliberate reason why it's in that order. People, process, products. That's like the order of difficulty. People are hard. Convincing people to do cultural change is a nightmare. But what you need is the processes to support these people as they're changing, as they're moving to a new way of working. And then you need tools, you need products to be able to support those processes. Hopefully you can buy tools. You can buy tools from us. You can, assemble open source tooling. You can build your own tooling if you want to. But that's the easy part. The hard part is the people in the process, and that's what we're going to spend most of the rest of the time talking about, if that's all right. So I said we learned a few habits at Microsoft. The first habit we've learned is to be customer obsessed. And this is something, hopefully people have started to notice this outside. Just everything is about the customer. And that's not just listening to the customers. So, going and using different websites and what have you, like developer connection and things. But we also have a program where we take our top customers and we assign them a champ. So somebody actually on the engineering team who directly talks to that top customer periodically, every month or so. And that's a deliberate thing because you still have all your Microsoft account management, support, all that stuff that big companies have, which is great and it's great for customers. But the problem is, as an engineering team, it's very easy to get disconnected from your end users because we've got all these, there's so many people in the company. So what we wanted to do was build empathy from our engineering team with our customers. So everybody on the engineering team knows a customer, not just people like me who actually talk to people and can look upright and not look at my shoes all the time, but actual people who do work, who check in code every day, like make sure they can talk to customers so that when they're in a stand-up and they're making, you wouldn't believe the number of things that really annoy you about Azure DevOps, was decided on a whiteboard during a stand-up one day when we were trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And maybe we're having a bad day, and apologies, but so many little decisions like that get made because teams are responsible for what they do. They're responsible for their own work. And it really helps them if they can advocate for customers because they've got empathy with the customer. They feel terrible if their customers had an outage, even if it only affected them. If it was only the one customer, it really is personal. So that's a deliberate thing. We also have these in-products feedback things. You've seen these for years. We still call this Dr. Watson inside Microsoft, even though Dr. Watson hasn't existed for many a decade, but that's still kind of how we think of them. And if you get a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to send some diagnostics to Microsoft or any developer, even on your iPhone or whatever, please do, because you make a developer's Christmas when you send one of those little packages over of debug data, because we dig into them, they become work items within Azure DevOps for us, and then we dig in and see it's extra data for us to try and analyze and figure out what that problem is.